Nothing in this recording is intended as investment advice, and the people in this recording may hold positions in the companies they talk about. Do not make any investment based solely on a tip or recommendation. Please do your own research.
Hello and welcome to Zak's Traders Cafe. Today I'm joined by Colin Bird as Executive Chairman at Galileo. How are you today, Colin?
I'm well, Zach. How are you?
I'm very well. We've got some news from Galileo today, which maybe is worth you explaining, just in case one or two people didn't get the message.
Yeah, it's a fairly simple message, Zach. You know that in Zimbabwe, our joint venture there with BC Ventures, well, more of an acquisition than a joint venture. We did, as part of the acquisition, acquire 520 square kilometers around the former Kamativi mine in Zimbabwe. Now, the Kamativi mine was a tin mine which worked for years. And of course, the Chinese group bought the rights to the dump, which is very rich in lithium. So it would be fair to assume that the surrounding area has possibility for lithium. Likewise, it was a very successful tin mine for many, many years. So the tin potential still exists as well. So we acquired 520 square kilometers, which was a fair piece of ground, Jack. And of course, went into reconnaissance. Lithium exploration is not the easiest exploration. And so it was necessary really to find out whether we're in the right ground. Had the former Kamativi mine identified what was the only potential for obviously tin in those days? And was there really any lithium potential as well? And so we set about a reconnaissance program and identified quite a number of targets. And the RNS tells you about these targets. And there's two types of pegmatites. Some are very old and some are quite young. I mean, young is obviously very, very old too in geological terms. But if you see symmetry and uniformity in pegmatites in Zimbabwe, then you're actually seeing what is a boring rock unlikely to host lithium or indeed tin. Where you see what they call discordant, where they're folded and turned and the surface expression is disturbed, that's where you're more likely to get values. And so we identified at least 9 sites and decided to do some test drilling on one site, purely reconnaissance, Zach. I mean, at this stage in the business, when you've got 520 square kilometers, you do not own in on one particular place. But of course, we had to start somewhere. And we did report that we found lithium, and indeed in our first 20 meters of drilling. But what's remarkable about this round of drilling that we've announced today is the fact that, of course, it's not commercial grade lithium, but it's present throughout. I mean, you know, there is lots of evidence of lithium, and you will also see that there's tin, that we've identified certain areas which have got tin, and then in other areas you've got tin and lithium in association. So really, what is it, Jake? What is it? It's proof of concept. So I think at this stage, we're very, very happy. The discordant comment is probably the most relevant. Second relevant is that surface sampling is not the way to sampling by standard geochemistry. That one's got to identify your discordant pegmatites and then trench. Then after you trench, you drill. The good news is we found spodumene and we found other indicators, all of which are typical of a couple of lithium projects which are currently in or going into production in Zimbabwe. So the summary of that announcement, Zach, is we're in the right territory. We've got a lot of discordant pegmatites. We're only just touching sides really as we're mapped. And so we've stepped off and we're map for these discordant pegmatites. And our ambition is lithium and tin. And we're quite excited about the presence of tin because, as you know, the fundamentals for tin are very good too. So in a summary, Zach, proof of concept. This was reconnaissance and reconnaissance only. We're extremely happy with the results. And the wild card there is, of course, as we comment, is we have all this anomalous and very anomalous, let's face it, when you get into 0.19s, 0.2s, very anomalous also in the mica schist, which is not particularly typical, although we do understand that one of the new operations which is being brought into production also has the same phenomena. So happy, Zach. It's a good result, upwards and onwards.
Okay, just one other thing, Colin, because obviously we'd like to talk about the mining space in general. We've seen a bit of a bump higher in copper. Maybe you could give us a bit of a view on that.
Well, Zach, I've been a copper buff since 2017, and most of our activities are really focusing on that, on copper. African Pioneer, as you know, is very positioned in the northwest, as is Galileo, as is Extract. We're all, we're generally, our companies are positioned in copper. They've done the best, Zach, for the last 6-10 months to hold the copper price down and can't. The demand is real. The supply is not there. The supply is being threatened almost every other day with a new announcement. But, that's the new announcement is often a threat against current capacity. But new capacity is just not being created in the size that it needs to be created for 206, 207, Zach. So I'm extremely happy with the copper price. Bet me bottom dollar again that the copper price will correct again. Because, as I say, there's a considerable number of corporations out there who just do not want the copper price to fly for the time being. And I'm afraid that it's an unstoppable train. But I see it correcting back, and I see it then breaking through 10.5 by the third quarter of this year, and then I see it sticking around range bound between 9.5 and 11 for a couple of years, which is a very healthy position to be in if you're considering new mines and copper exploration ventures like we are. So I'm very pleased, Zach. As I say, a lot of pressure to push it down, but more pressure from within to push it up. So yes, I do agree with your comment. Very nice to see, but could be short-lived. But I'm expecting a real positive tiered drive up over the next 6 months.
Colin Bird, Chairman and CEO at Galileo, thank you very much indeed.